What's up everybody, welcome to this intermediate Vinyasa flow. My name's Ollie, thank you for joining me here on the channel. And today we're going to be utilizing all of the warrior poses to put together some nice flowy sequences and try to really embody our inner warrior. So this class is a shorter, let's say more tame version of another class that's here on the channel called Power Yoga Warrior Flow. So if you're looking for more of a challenge today, more of a stronger class, then maybe go and check out that one. I will link it up here, or maybe up here, or maybe even down there. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing. All you need for today's class is your yoga mats, a couple of yoga blocks if you have them lying around, and as always, if you enjoyed the class, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe so you never miss a video. And with all that said, we're going to go ahead and get started today in a comfortable seated position at the back of the yoga mats. So let's find our way into a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross-legged. I'm going to sit on my heels today in a hero's pose. But whatever you decide to go with, just sit up nice and tall, close down the eyes, and rest the hands down on top of the legs, wherever's comfortable. As we take a moment here to really just settle and arrive on our yoga mats completely before we start to move our bodies. All together, let's take a deep inhale through the nose, fill the lungs all the way up. And then exhale, sigh it out. Two more times, inhale, breathe. Fill the lungs. And then exhale, release. One more time, inhale, pull the oxygen deep. And then hold at the top of the inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, sigh it out. Beautiful work, everybody. Seal those lips and bring your attention towards the breath, steadily moving in and out through the nose. And with each new inhale, can you pull that oxygen just a little bit deeper as you prolong the duration of the inhale, pulling that oxygen as deep as you can. And then complement those inhales with long, controlled exhales. As you begin to establish that steady rhythm of breath. And then my invitation to you is to try to maintain this rhythm of breath, even as things start to become more challenging. And if you have an intention that feels personal to you, feel free to bring that to your practice as well. What are you trying to work on within your life? What are you trying to create? What are you trying to bring to the table? But get clear and be specific, because when you really decide to commit yourself to something and make a decision, the universe has a funny way of conspiring to make it happen. But you have to be clear with your intentions, clear with the universe, and then everything should fall into place. Now blink open those eyes, and then let's find our way into a tabletop pose. So hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips, tuck the toes under, and then sit the hips back down towards the heels as we stretch out those feet for a moment. And then shift the weight forwards, shift the shoulders towards the fingertips as you start to feel a nice stretch within the forearms, and then sit back down onto the heels. Let's do that a few more times, just shifting forwards and backwards, beginning to warm up the wrists, the fingers, and the hands. Moving with the breath. And then find your way back into a tabletop pose. Walk the hands forwards, step the feet back into a plank pose, push into the palms, protract the shoulder blades, tuck the tailbone. Take an inhale, come onto the tiptoes, shift the shoulders forwards, and then exhale, lower all the way down to the yoga mats. Keep the hands beneath the shoulders, untuck the toes, and then on your next inhale, lift the chest for a baby cobra. Squeeze the shoulder blades, reach the toes back. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, pull it up, cobra pose, push into the hands. And then exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, release down. This time, as you inhale, lift the chest up and let's hold for a few breaths. Engage the glutes, reach the toes back, squeeze those shoulder blades, allow the heart to draw forwards and breathe into that chest. We'll take one more inhale here, push into the palms. And then downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, send the hips to the sky, drop the heads. And for your first downward facing dog, just feel free to move around in any way that feels good. Maybe pedal out those heels left and right, move the hips around, rotate through the shoulders. Just take the time here to work into those muscle groups, the hamstrings, the shoulders, giving the body the time that it needs to open up. And remember that we're still super early on in the practice, so we have plenty of time to go deeper. Now keeping that breath channeling in and out of the nose, slow down any movement. Take one more deep inhale here in this downward facing dog. Reach the hips back, drive the heels down low. And then as you exhale, start to shift forwards as we make our way into a plank pose. So shoulders are above the wrists. Tuck the tailbone, engage the core, protract the shoulder blade. So imagine you're trying to dome your upper back. Take one more inhale here in plank pose. And then exhale, send the hips back to the sky for a downward facing dog. Hold for the inhale, pull the hips back. And then exhale, roll through the spine forwards, shift into a plank pose, push the ground away from you, push into the hands, take an inhale. Exhale, send it back. Let's just do two more like that. So hold for the inhale here in downward facing dog. And then exhale, roll forwards into a plank pose. Hold for the inhale. Exhale, hips back to the sky. Take an inhale here, downward facing dog. And then exhale, roll back forwards, find your way back into a plank pose. Hold here for a moment. Start to shift the shoulders towards the fingers. Come onto the tippy toes, take an inhale. And then either dropping the knees down to the ground or keeping them lifted, slowly start to bend the arms and lower all the way down to the ground. Chaturanga Dandasana. Untuck the toes, keep the hands beneath the shoulders. Inhale, push into the palms, lift the chest up slightly for a baby cobra. And then exhale, release down to the floor. Two more times. Inhale, lift the chest, reach the toes back, squeeze the shoulder blades. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, pull the chest up. Exhale, release. This time as you inhale, lift the chest up and then maybe come into an upward facing dog. So the legs lift off the ground and you're balancing on the top of the feet. Push into the palms. Draw the heart forwards. And then exhale, using the strength of your core, send the hips back to the sky for a downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale, sigh it out the mouth. Beautiful work, everybody. Take an inhale. And then exhale, walk the feet forwards, in between the hands for a forward fold at the front of the yoga mat. Start to sink down into those hamstrings, straightening the legs. And then keeping the hands beneath the shoulders. On an inhale, come onto the fingertips and lift the chest up halfway. Or maybe bring the hands to the shins just below the knees to find a flat back shape. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, find that flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. fingertips or shins. Exhale, release down to the ground. Put a slight bend into those knees. On your next inhale, circle the hands all the way up to the sky. Fingertips reach up, maybe the palms touch. And then exhale, bring the hands down to heart center in front of the chest. Inhale, circle the hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, circle the hands all the way up. Maybe lean back and look up. And then exhale, forward fold. Release the hands all the way down to the ground. Straighten those legs. Inhale, lift the chest halfway. And then exhale, step back into a plank pose and lower down on the same exhale breath. And then inhale, your choice of cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, send the hips to the sky. And then on your next inhale, we're going to float that right leg up to the sky for a three-legged dog. Exhale, draw the right knee towards the chest. Place the foot in between the hands. Drop the left heel down to the ground. And keep those left toes pointing up to the left top corner of the yoga mat. Create a solid foundation within the legs. And then on your next inhale, let's float the hands all the way up to the sky for Warrior One, our first warrior pose of the practice. So the chest is facing forwards. The right knee is bending just above the right heel. Readjust that left foot to find comfort and sink those hips low as you reach those hands as high as they'll go. Pull the right hip back, the left hip draws forwards. Take one more inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands behind the lower back. Interlace the fingers so the knuckles are facing down to the ground. Take an inhale, pull the chest up slightly. Reach the knuckles down low. And then exhale, drop the right shoulder on top of the right knee for Humble Warrior. Maintaining that solid foundation within the legs. Breathe into that right hip. And maybe drop the right shoulder down inside the right leg. Just to stoke a bit more fire. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Notice where you feel this in the body. And then on your next inhale, pushing strong into that right foot, we're going to reach the hands back to the sky for a Warrior One pose. And then exhale, Warrior Two. Open the chest to the left, hands to shoulder height. Gaze comes over that right middle finger. Sink deep into that right leg. Bring the gaze down to the inside of the right knee and make sure you can see the right big toe there, just to make sure that the knee is tracking in the same direction as the foot. And then on your next inhale, reverse warrior, reach the left hand down to the left leg, reach the right hand back, and breathe into that right lung. Take one more inhale, reach those hands back, drop the right hip low, and then exhale, circle the hands down to the ground to frame the right foot. Step the right foot back, take an inhale in plank pose, and then exhale, bend the arms, keeping the belly lifted about an inch or so above the ground. And then inhale, push back up to a plank pose. Exhale, bend the arms, lower all the way down to the floor, drop the belly, release the toes. Inhale, lift the chest for a cobra pose. Exhale, send the hips to the sky for a downward facing dog. Take an inhale, breathe. Exhale, sigh it out the mouth. When you're ready, we're going to repeat that same sequence on the opposite side. So on your next exhale, walk the feet forwards in between the hands. And then inhale, lift the chest up halfway, coming onto the fingertips, or bring the hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. 2 more times. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, circle the hands all the way up to the sky, palms touch. Exhale, bring the hands down to heart center, prayer pose. And then inhale, reach the hands all the way up. Exhale, take the plunge, forward fold, hands down to the ground. Breathe into the back of those hamstrings as you inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, step the feet back, lower down on the same breath. And then inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Reach the toes back, heart draws forwards. Exhale, hips to the sky, drop the head, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, left leg floats up to the sky. Exhale, left knee to chest. Place the foot in between the hands. Spin the right heel flat, toes pointing forwards. And then inhale, float the hands up to the sky for that warrior one position. Chest draws forwards, palms face each other. Left hip pulls back, right hip draws forwards. And reach those hands up to the sky as you inhale. Settle into the pose. Sink deeper into that left leg so the left knee bends just above the left heel. Take an inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, release the hands behind the lower back, interlace the fingers. And then inhale, pull the chest up, drop the knuckles low. Exhale, humble warrior, drop the chest down low. So the yogis knew that as they moved through these practices and moved through these poses, that naturally they would just become stronger and more powerful. And power is where the ego resides. So this pose, humble warrior, is designed to keep that ego in check, because this pose embodies that benevolent quality of humility. On your next inhale, push into the left foot, reach the hands back up to the sky, warrior one. And then exhale, open the chest to the right, hands to shoulder height, warrior two. Drop that left knee low, readjust the right foot if you need to. Gaze comes over that left middle finger. Pulling that oxygen deep. And then inhale, reverse the warrior. Reach the right hand down to the right leg. Reach the left hand away from the left hip. And then if you can, drop that left hip even lower. Breathe into that left side body. Feel that expansion beneath the left rib cage. Take one more inhale here. Reach the hand back. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step the left foot back as you inhale for plank pose. And then exhale, bend the arms lower down, keeping the belly lifted. And then inhale, push it up. Let's do one more just for fun. Exhale, bend the arms, keep the belly lifted. Inhale, push it up. This time, as you exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Untuck the toes, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, send the hips to the sky. Take a huge inhale through the nose. And then exhale out the mouth, just let it all go. Now keeping it moving along, let's take one more inhale here in downward facing dog. Pull those hips back, push into the hands. Exhale, walk the feet forwards, in between the hands. Inhale, lift the chest halfway. And this time as you exhale, sit the hips back, drop the hips low. And then inhale, reach the hands to the sky for a chair pose. Shifting the weight back into those heels. Feel those glutes start to wake up. The gaze is set just below the horizon. Take one more inhale here. Reach those hands up. Find a neutral spine. And then exhale, stand up, hands to heart center. Inhale, circle the hands all the way up. And then exhale, forward fold, hands down low. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, step the right foot to the back of the yoga mat. So we're making our way into a runner's lunge. Drop those hips low, balancing on the right toes. Now keeping that chest resting on the left leg, establish a solid foundation within the legs and the hips. And once you have that foundation, inhale, reach the hands up to the sky for a crescent pose. Bend into that left knee. And with each inhale, you're reaching up through that spine, separating the vertebrae. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, bring the hands down to heart center in front of the chest. Now keeping those hands in front of the chest, take an inhale. And then exhale, begin to shift the weight forwards into the left foot until the right toes become light, and then float the right leg up to the sky for a warrior three, our final warrior pose, balancing on that left leg, pushing into those palms, keeping the hips neutral with the right toes pointing down to the ground. Take one more inhale, bend the left knee, step the right foot back as you exhale, and then inhale, open the chest, warrior two. Hands to shoulder height. And then as you inhale, straighten the left leg, reach the hands to the sky, palms touch. And then exhale, rebend the knee, warrior two. Two more times, inhale, straighten the leg, reach the hands up. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forwards. Inhale, pulse it up. Exhale, drop it low. One more time, inhale. Exhale, warrior two. And then inhale, reverse the warrior. And then exhale, circle the hands down to the yoga mat, step the left foot back, take an inhale in plank pose. Exhale, lower down to the ground. Inhale, lift the chest, cobra. Exhale, hips to the sky. Take an inhale through the nose, reset. Find your composure, come back home, come back to this downward facing dog. And then exhale, just sigh it all out the mouth. Reseal the lips. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale, walk the feet forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, bend the knees, squat down to your own degree. And then inhale, reach the hands up to the sky for a chair pose. And then maybe if you want to add even more to this pose, lift the heels off the ground. So you're balancing on the toes. Sink the hips even lower. Maybe you can bring the hips down to knee height. Keep on breathing. Let's take one more inhale here. And then exhale, stand up, hands to heart center. Whoo! Inhale, circle the hands up to the sky. Exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, step the left foot back. Hands frame the right foot. Balancing on those left toes for a runner's lunge. Sink the hips lower, slight bend in that left knee. And once you have that foundation, inhale, float the hands up to the sky, crescent pose. Get nice and long through the spine, drop that right hip low, reach those fingers up, almost like a tree just growing all the way up to the sun. With each inhale, pulling those hands that little bit higher. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Shift the weight forwards into the right foot until those left toes become light. And then float the left leg to the sky. Warrior three. Virabhadrasana, left toes pointing down to the ground. And remember that if you fall and if you wobble, that's just part of the practice. Just come back into the pose and try again. Take one more inhale here. Bend the right knee slightly. Step the left foot all the way back as you exhale. And then inhale, open up to a warrior two, Virabhadrasana. Sink that right hip low, right knee bending above the right heel, gazes over that right middle finger. And then on the next inhale, straighten the right leg, reach the hands up to the sky. Release the tension within that right leg. Exhale, bend the right knee, hands back to shoulder height. And then inhale, reach it up, straighten the leg. Two more. Exhale, bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend. Inhale, pulse it up. And then exhale, come back to that warrior two position. Inhale, reach the left hand back, reach the right fingertips away from the right hip, reverse warrior. And then exhale, circle the hands all the way down to the ground, step the right foot back, plank pose, take an inhale here. And then exhale, lower down to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest up, backward bend, extension. Exhale, send the hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale out the mouth, just let it go. Final downward facing dog of the practice, so really sink in. Allow the chest to drop between the shoulders. The heels are super heavy. Beautiful work, everybody. Say goodbye to that downward facing dog. And then exhale, drop the knees down to the ground. Let's walk the knees forwards behind the wrists. Keep the toes tucked under and then stand up on top of those knees so the hips are stacked on top of the knees. The hands are at the waist. And then inhale, reach the right hand up to the sky. Exhale, circle it back and place that right hand on top of the right heel. And then inhale. Left hand to the sky, backward bend, camel pose assisted. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, same thing on the opposite side. Circle that left hand down to the left heel and then inhale, reach the right hand up. Exhale, right hand, right heel, left fingertips reaches, inhale. Exhale, reverse. Left hand to left heel. Inhale, right fingertips reach. Continue to move through these camels, connecting breath to movement, just exploring that backward bend, exploring your own body, allowing the breath to act as a compass to guide you to where you need to be. Wherever you are, let's hold. Doesn't matter whether you're on the left heel or the right heel. Reach the opposing arm up and back, and then bring the opposing hand to the opposite heel as we make our way into a full camel pose. Try to stack the hips on top of the knees. Lean back. Reach down through that tailbone. A slight tuck in the chin so you're not cranking the neck. Breathe into those lungs. Offer the heart to the ceiling. And then slowly make your way out. Bring the hands to heart center. Untuck the toes. Sit back onto the heels for a hero's pose. And you can stay here. This is a great stretch for the quads. It's also magic for the knees. But if you want to go even deeper, maybe you can bring those hands down to the floor behind you. Keep the fingertips pointing forwards. Or maybe you can come all the way down onto the forearms. Or maybe lower the back all the way down to the floor. We're trying to find our edge in all these poses. But when we meet that edge, we do so with intelligence. We never meet it with aggression. We never want to force anything. So find your edge and then just kind of flirt with it. See how deep you can go. And as long as it feels good in your body, then that's perfect. Wherever you are, let's slowly, carefully, intelligently make our way back up. Bring the knees back to center. Let's find our way down onto our hips. Extend the feet out in front of us. Inhale, float the hands to the sky. And then exhale, seated forward fold. Reach the hands forwards. Maybe grab onto the bottom of the feet. And close down the eyes as we sink into this deep forward fold. Giving that whole posterior chain, the back line of the body, that runs from our ankles all the way to the tops of our skulls. It's all connected. If you had the eyes closed, blink them open. Let's slowly walk the hands back towards the hips. Bend the knees, shift the hips forwards. Slowly lower all the way down to the ground. Draw the knees into the belly, give yourself a nice big squeeze. And then exhale, release everything down to the ground. Shavasana. You made it to the end of practice. And now it's time to let go. Let go of controlling the breath. Let go of any tension that's lingering around within the body. Close down those eyes. Sink into stillness. And then I invite you to feel. Notice every inch of your body. Feel all that tension and all that stagnant energy just melting down onto the yoga mat, into the ground beneath you. Feeling that fresh blood flow stimulating all the muscles and all the joints within your body. And then notice the breath, almost like a trance, just guiding you deeper and deeper into the present moment. So feel free to stay here in Shavasana for another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to close off this practice in about 60 seconds or so. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and hopefully I'll see you on the mat again soon. Namaste, everybody.